YouTube, welcome. Sensei Martyn here from the Aikido Bastards. Here to do a video to talk to you about sort of self-defense and the misconceptions sometimes in the martial arts community. It's again to be my personal opinion on the matter. Before I do it, a couple of quick admin points. We've got a lot of videos in our heads at the moment. We haven't had a chance to put them out onto film, so to speak, but we're getting around to it. And secondly, quick shout out to a colleague and friend. If you haven't seen it, Tristan Chermak has set up his own YouTube channel now called Spirit Aikido. He's doing a lot of work with the Tension group. After a lot of berating him to get his knowledge out there to the community, I'm glad to see he's finally got his YouTube channel up and running. So nice one. Check it out. Some real good content, both video wise and also sort of blog wise as well. So anyway, we're going to talk about self-defense aspect of it. I say it's come from the Aikido world. This can probably actually translate to most traditional martial arts. So take Aikido out and stick your martial art in there and have a think about the stuff I talk about, whether that relates to you as well. People take up martial arts for a number of reasons. They're all valid reasons. Friendship, some physical exercise, spiritual improvement, achievement. Some people just want to have, I want to get my black belt. It's like an achievement they want to tick off. Loads of good reasons to do it, but a common thread is always self-defense. I want to, this conception that actually I'll become a black belt in said style, that when the bad thing happens, I'm going to be there like Bruce Lee, dealing with it all. And as a result of that, there often then also leads to a lot of arguments about effectiveness of styles. You get styles within styles, arguing, within the Aikido world, there are numerous different branches of Aikido, and none of us seem to agree on what's the right way forward. We spend enough time infighting about what's effective, what isn't effective, what's the right way. You then throw into the mix other people viewing into it, other styles arguing around, and it just becomes a bit of a conflab. Then you've got the MMA world, who I love and respect, founded from traditional martial arts, have taken what they think is good from traditional martial arts and put it into their environment. Again, question the effectiveness of martial arts and all that sort of it. And it's all valid because there is some stuff out there that doesn't really have much of a martial application in the real world, and that side of it. And it boils back to me, the main thing here is the honesty and the integrity of the instructors, the people teaching it, and the students accepting it as well. Again, within the Aikido world, there are a lot of techniques that for me are what I call dojo techniques. They teach good principles, good concepts, talking about balance, taking postures and all this sort of stuff, give ukes chance to do big, nice break falls. The reality is, though, it's hard to translate them into a real world practice. Now, that's all very well if you're honest about what you're saying, that actually what we're teaching teaches you these skills, but its martial application is limited. Where the problem comes is you get a lot of martial arts schools from different styles, different levels, who will teach that what they're doing has a direct correlation to dealing with out in the street. And that's where a little bit of danger is. You also get students who believe, I've become a black belt, therefore I'm mustard. I'm going to be, when I get into a scrap, I'm going to be doing all my Bruce Lee moves, and, my poor opponent's going to get knocked down. And that almost self-confidence and arrogance that I dare want to say sometimes means it doesn't happen that way. We'll talk through some of the main sort of thoughts around it, but the way I sort of see martial arts, what I tell people is especially around effectiveness, if you get into a fight, you know nothing and you do nothing, you get punched and knocked down, well, that's kind of your baseline. That's where people start. There's no training, regardless of the effectiveness of training. If you've done nothing, that's your starting point. So you do something, you learn whatever style it is, you get to the same sort of conflict, you try something, it doesn't work, you get punched and knocked out. Actually, you're no worse off than when in the first place. You've probably spent a bit of money learning all your skills, but as an end result, you're no worse off than you were in the first place. If in those skills you've actually developed friends, become fitter and all the other stuff, well then you've had a benefit anyway, so you're kind of no worse off. And then the third part really is you get into that conflict, you do something, you don't get knocked out, you survive the conflict better, and you come out, so well actually you chalk it up as a win. And one of the big things is, I guess it comes from being experienced. If you've had conflict, is it's not going to go to plan. I'm not going to swing the lantern, but I haven't had that many fights at all outside of my work. But the ones I have never went to plan. I remember the biggest one I had. I've been training for years. I kind of thought, my skills were there. If something happened, I was going to be, I'll do X, Y, Z. If someone threw a punch, block, strike, all the stuff people drill. It actually was. It was a fight, 4-on-6. I was in the number of 4, and I spent most of it trying to dodge blows, pull people off my friends, throw the odd blow, and after what seemed like a lifetime, it was probably only about a couple of minutes, went our separate ways, and I was disappointed because I hadn't done any of the stuff I trained to do. I hadn't done any of my, killer end Mortal Kombat type finishing moves. I hadn't done any of the stuff in my head that I trained to do for years. But when I reflected back on my Sifu, he sort of said, "Well, okay, look at your injuries. What no blows had landed to my head. I think I had a slight bruise across my side, where obviously taking a kick or a blow to the side, and I had a few cuts on my knuckles. So in that melee of a fight, I hadn't really taken many punches, so I managed to avoid them. I'd given out probably more than I'd taken, because I could tell them taking some of my knuckles, and I'd really quite minimal injuries. Some of my friends have been in the conflict had come out with a few more injuries. So actually, looking back at it now, yes, I didn't do my martial arts stuff, but the training had allowed me to come out of that with less injury. And that's the only thing I can chalk it up to. Is the fact is, it's not going to go to plan. There's a famous quote everyone throws out, Tyson. Everyone's got a plan till you get punched. Well, it's kind of true. Your martial art training is going to prepare you, but when it happens in the real world, it's not going to go to plan. It's not going to look like your martial art training. It's going to look dirty and ugly. But if it works, if you come out of that scenario and you're still breathing, still walking, still talking, chalk it up as a win, because that's what you're looking for. And I suppose the only thing, the caveat is, don't develop that level of arrogance or fake confidence. Martial arts is not going to be the panacea. You're not going to attain a level and become untouchable. It's a skill. It's going to improve your odds. It's not going to make you unbeatable. And that's probably the 2 points I want to cover now about the misnomer about martial arts. Is the first one, I said about the odds. For me, all you're ever doing is improving your odds about how you're going to come out of that conflict. And what I mean by that is, take yourself, you're fighting yourself in a year's time. If you do nothing, 50% of the time you're going to win, 50% of the time your doppelganger is going to win, because you're at the same level. So what you've got to be doing is thinking, what can I do between then and now, between that happening, to improve the odds of me winning that fight? There's 3 areas I just focus on: sort of the mental, physical, and skill set. But you've got to be doing stuff to improve yourself. So you take up a martial art, you learn a bit of skills, you start doing a bit of cardio to build up your physicality. You take some positivity mindset classes, loads of stuff, but you start doing stuff to increase those odds. And what you do is you're tipping the odds of that balance, and when you come into a conflict, you're going to do slightly better. You're never, and this is to me, you're never going to be 100% beatable. No one is ever 100% beatable. There are always people bigger and tougher out there, and in street conflict situations, you've got luck and unpredictability, and that is probably the main reason why you're never going to think, I'm going to be untouchable. That I've done all these skills, I've done all my weights, done all my cardio. I've been to self-help talk groups, and I'm positive, and I've a black belt in whatever style. You can still get beaten. You improve your odds, but on the street, there's that luck, there's that unpredictability that might actually affect how it all rolls out. So that's the first sort of point, really, is that you're increasing your odds, but you're never going to be 100% unbeatable. The second part is talk about self-defense. Talk about actually what is it you're likely to come into contact with. If you're doing multiple attacks with guys with swords, that's very rare. Yes, there's a bit, people talk about knife crime in the UK and that sort of stuff. The vast majority of it is criminal gang related, criminal gang stuff. It's very rare, if you're a member of the public, that you're going to be attacked by people with large knives, machetes, and even normal knives and that sort of stuff. It's highly rare. If that's what your mindset is and you're focusing on, you're training for something that's unlikely to ever happen. So target your training. If you live in a high crime area and everyone's getting mugged with knives every day and it's on the news and all that sort of stuff, then clearly you need to focus that into what is your training. If you're a doorman or a law enforcement officer, you've got to think, actually, what's the remit and the focus of your conflict? Having done both, you've got a sort of remit you've got to work to. It is, I'm looking to eject someone from my nightclub. Therefore, a big focus is on control, restraint, effective techniques so that you do that. Deal with a couple of blows, deal with ejecting people, be able to carry them out. It's all very, there's no point thinking I'm a great doorman, bang, I can bang people out, 4 people knocked down, and then you think, I've now got to get those 4 people out of the club. Also the use of force. You are paid to be a professional in that role. Same with police. There's no point being a police officer. You think I'm going to go learn all these wonderful skills and bang everyone out, because you'll get yourself in trouble from the law point of view. And also, what's your objective? Your objective is often to arrest people, detain them, using the minimum amount of force necessary. So actually, you need to hone your training to the scenarios you're going to put yourself in. Go back as a general member of the public. We're looking at self-defence. Look at yourself. If you're going out drinking every Friday, Saturday night, that's probably where your conflict's going to come from. You're going to be drinking. You're going to bump into people. You're going to get into your standard Friday, Saturday night dust up. In which case, focus training there. If you've moved past that now, most people, once they've hit the other side of 25 or something like that, start settling down with family, kids. Chances are you don't go out very often. If you do, you're a lucky man. But you end up, the chances of conflict probably are things like road rage. That's the last time I had someone nearly come to conflict with me was over a road rage incident. You're stealing the last car parking space at Tesco's, or someone's parked in the family and child bay, and you haven't got a family and child, and you get into an argument. It's those sort of stuff. So actually, again, look at that. What is the likely scenario you're going to get into conflict, and just then think back. Does your training focus you for that area? And what I'm doing is, don't train for areas that you don't need to do. There's no point training to take on 4 samurai warriors with swords. It's good skill, it's good fun. It's not going to happen in the real world. And to be honest, if it did happen in the real world, you're probably best off just praying and hoping, because it doesn't matter how good you are. If there's 4 people swinging swords around, you're going to get cut, you're going to get hurt. So they're the 2 points. 1, improve your odds. That's what you're doing. And just make sure that you're doing that in the right way. And secondly, target the training for what it is you think. If self-defense is your focus in martial arts, think about what are the scenarios you're going to get into and actually focus your training for those. What we'll do now, I'm going to move on now to sort of the 3 areas that I want to touch on about where you should focus and try and improve your training. Right, so I said there were sort of 3 areas I wanted to focus on. And what I've done is knocked up what this is. For those who don't know, it's called a Venn diagram. Essentially, it's the overlapping circles. And you can see the 3 topics here. There's physicality, mentality, and your sort of skill ability. Where you want to be able to is actually draw on all 3 aspects of that. So that little blue bit in the centre, that's kind of where you want to pull your training to, because that's getting the best of it all. And that's where you're going to maximise your effectiveness in that sort of self-defence arena. The bits in red I've highlighted that's the ideal place. There are other places where actually you will excel in sort of self-defence, but they are rare and not areas to focus on. So what I'm saying there is, like, take the physicality. There are some people whose physicality is so overwhelming that actually the rest of it's kind of irrelevant. And if I was to give you an example, the actor from Game of Thrones who plays the Mountain, I think Bjorn Haffelsson, I can't pronounce it, Bjorn Haffelsson, like that. Someone like him, his physicality, he's an absolute giant of a man that eats his my body weight in food a day just to survive and that sort of stuff. I could throw every attack I've got at him and it would bounce off him. He just has to flick me, would send me flying. The fact of the matter is, his level of his size that would intimidate nearly everyone into thinking there's no way I'm going to rumble with that person. So he is so far high on that physicality scale that actually, yes, he might have the other best, but he doesn't really need it because he's just going to overwhelm people. Mentality side, again, you're looking at probably 2 areas I bring to mind. First one is look at your military selection. Most people who apply for the SAS or Navy SEALs or whatever the elite people are, physically, they're all capable of doing it. You watch the TV shows, they're all fit, strong people. It's never always their fitness or that side that lets them down. It's often, you speak to people involved, it's often their mental state. There's a baseline physical standard to get even to apply for it. What gets people to the end is the mental state. You look at the people that pass these courses, they're not always the fittest, they're not always the strongest, they're not, but they are mentally, something says they just will not quit, will not stop until they achieve it. And again, they're the people there that have that mental drive that they can achieve much more than the average person. The flip side of that is people like the psychotic people. We're talking about self-defense. I don't think I'd have it in me to crack a bottle open and attack someone, slit their throat and kill them and all that sort of stuff over very little. I've not been there, but I don't think I've got that in my psyche that I could do it. There are people out there who are that almost psychotic that they can go to that level of force without it really affecting their moral compass and their mental state. And again, those sort of people are so far over into that mental state that they are dangerous, and they're the ones that will flip very quickly. You go to that such high level of force that they are that dangerous that actually it doesn't matter whether how physical they are or how good their skills ability are, because they've got that mental drive. They can be that damaging and dangerous. Skill ability one, I suppose. You're a Shaolin monk. I know people say, oh, they're not fighters and all that sort of stuff. Having seen a few of them move, I can guarantee if you throw punches at them, you're not going to land the punches on them. They're quick, they're sharp, they're fast. Yeah, they probably have got good physicality, mentality, but they've honed their skills and ability from the age of 6. That they're that good that your skill set is going to, it doesn't matter if you're stronger than them. You're not going to be able to overwhelm what their skill and natural ability is. So have that in mind. They're the 3 things. But this is the area that the vast majority of us we're focusing on trying to get ourselves into. So I've mentioned 3 areas. The first one, physicality. I've broken each down to sort of 3 subsections because for me they're the kind of ways we can look at it. The first one, appearance. It makes a massive issue. It is a real important part of it. It shouldn't, but it does. How you look can dictate sometimes how people respond to you. We know that. But be aware of your own physicality and your own appearance, because it does affect the obvious example is I wear a Liverpool football top, and if I was to walk into a Tottenham pub at the moment where we've just beaten them in the UEFA Cup final, chances are I wouldn't be very popular. So be aware of that appearance. If I put on something like that, it naturally draws people in as a bit of a target. Things what you wear. If you have loads of earrings in your ear, they are a target. People can get them pulled out. It's a natural thing. If you had a big bull ring through your nose, it's a target for me to yank on and fight. Your appearance can potentially lead to you becoming more of a target. Both like if you wear the really tight t-shirts and and all that sort of stuff, you sometimes put yourself. You make yourself look, stand out. If you stand out, you become yourself a bit of a target. And I'm not saying you need to, you shouldn't have to change what you look like to adapt, but just be aware that your appearance will dictate sometimes how people respond to you. And it's what we have it in our head. We respond to images we have. If you go into a bar and it's full of big burly men, sort of skinheads, biker jackets, there's loads of Harley Davidsons parked outside of it, you're going to go in thinking, oh my god, it's a biker sort of pub venue. You're going to have that, you've automatically got your preconceptions around that, and it builds into that. So if you project that image, be prepared to how it might respond to people and how they will respond to you. That's kind of it. So just that's the first part of it. It's saying that whole physicality. Second part is very simple. It's your capability. Martial arts, especially Aikido guys, you don't need to be, it's not about strength. It's it's skill. If you are fitter and stronger than the person you're in conflict with, you've got an edge. Index. You don't need to cover that anymore. So actually, have you working on your fitness? Are you doing anything to improve your fitness? Are you doing anything to make yourself cardio better than you were before? If you're not doing that, you're going to struggle. Anyone gets into a fight, do a bit of sparring and that sort of stuff. A couple of minutes, people are blowing. Doesn't and again, you need to work on that set of skills. I'd probably cover that to death. Really, it's very simple. If the only difference between you and me fighting is the fact that you're a bit stronger and a bit fitter, statistically you're going to win the fight more often. We go about that balancing 5 out of 10, 5 times you win, 5 times I win. You're fitter, you're stronger, you're going to push that 6, 7 times. There we are. So that's that one. The third one is I've got to worry about projection. Now, what I don't mean is that's I'm talking about the physical projection. What I'm talking about here is sort of how you project yourself internally. And the best example is, they've done studies. Criminals will target. It's a bit like animal instinct. They will target what they see as weakness. If you're stood there wanting to mug someone at a cash point, and someone walks down, they're confident, their head's up, they're looking around, they see you, they see the area, they project that aura of confidence, they're going to be less likely to target a person. Whereas if somebody walks down, who's head down, meek and mild, that sort of stuff, you will pick on it. We are animalistic at heart, therefore, nature works where, the stronger ones will prey on the weaker ones. And that's the same difference here. If someone projects, take the door work, police work again, people that work in that industry, if one of your colleagues comes across as being nervous and unsure of himself, the people will pick up on that, and then they will and then you end up in a bit of a loop. So you need to sometimes project that image, and not say work on it, but you need to be aware of how you project yourself. Obviously, don't come across as too arrogant, but be prepared that if you project a confident, positive image, it will potentially retract some of that conflict scenarios. So the physical. So what can you do around the physicality? Simple part really is work on aspects of it. The capability side of it, it's easy. Do fitness that targeted to what you needed to do. So strength and weight training, cardio training, that sort of stuff, flexibility, whatever it is that suits you. Crack on with that. The appearance and the projection stuff is probably just reflect on it, be aware of it, be aware of the impact on it, and then if you think you need to make changes, there are ways. People will talk to you about that sort of level of projection. There's better YouTube videos than this one. We'll talk to you about overcoming confidence and presenting that aura to people. Again, probably the key thing there is just awareness, build up on it. So that's the physical side. The mentality side now. This for me is the big one. This is the one that I think gets overlooked a lot in martial arts training. People talk about it and say, we're going to build you a good, robust spirit. But I think related to the self-defense world, they don't. So the first point I'd have there has got to be awareness. And that situational awareness. So actually, I know people. I've walked into a pub and straight away within 5 seconds thought this is not a nice place to be. My friends are at the bar ordering drinks, oblivious to the sort of the eyes turning on you and all that sort of stuff. Again, so that situational awareness. You go to a cash point. I will take half a quick step, just go and just look around. And if there's someone stood there watching people at the cash point, straight away I'm picking up what's that person doing, why are they looking, what's that. So that situational awareness will probably, if you get it to a really good level, will actually negate a lot of the conflicts. If you're working doors, you're watching the queue. If you can see the people who are problematic in the queue, if you're aware of that, by the time they get to you, you don't let them in. You'll save yourself problems in the pub later. It's obvious stuff, but again, it's an area that's not drilled. From a self-defense point of view, you've got to think actually, if you find yourself in a situation, were you oblivious to the build-up to it in the first place? If there's a group of people at the bar just being complete arseholes, actually, do you want to stay in that bar? Do you want to move on? When you time your drinks, go to the other end of the bar so that you're nowhere near them. Are you sat next to them, or can you sit somewhere else? Again, what can you do to improve that situation? The other thing is you pick up on things like NVC, so non-verbal communications, sort of the social cues and that sort of stuff. Again, there's whole documentaries and YouTube clips around that sort of stuff, but it sums up really a bit of instinct. You will get it when you talk to people. You'll get an instinct of whether you like them or you dislike them. And if you watch the violent encounters, you will see it's rare, they just come from nowhere. Often there are little build-ups and you can see the non-verbal communication, the cues building up to it. The target acquisition, people tend to look at what they want to hit before they hit it, all that sort of stuff. Their hands will clench. There's loads of clips out there around talking around it, but again, that awareness is probably the key aspect that will probably prevent a lot of conflict happening if you build up in that good. Second part is the old fight, flight, freeze. And you'll hear it all the time, and essentially it's an instinctive reaction. Everyone has it. Doesn't matter who you are. If something happens, your brain instantly does that initial quick threat assessment, and instinct goes, are you going to fight, are you going to run away, or are you just going to go for the freeze approach? Now, the more you experience it, the faster you move through it. And I'll talk about, law enforcement and door work, but actually we still go through the same process. It's just you'll find that people who've done it move through that fight, flight, freeze scenario very quickly, and actually it sort of happens, and within half a breath they're starting to move into what they want to do around it. And the first time you get into a conflict, it will overwhelm you probably. The more you do it, the shorter it breaks down. But it's being aware of it and developing it. And again, I'll talk about how you can do it, but again, it's developing skills to combat it. And the third part really is, again, it's controlled aggression. The reality is, if you're going to get into a conflict, you need to be able to take the use of force to the level that you've trained it to. Now, I often say you're not as good in the street as you are in the dojo. Therefore, if you're only training to set a level here in the dojo, you're never going to go beyond that suddenly on the street. So, Temi is the obvious one. If you're a Temi, it's always, black comes in and you're stopping short, of the face, and it's never making contact, it's never hitting, it's never driving through. You're never visualising that I'm actually smashing that bloke in the jaw as hard as I possibly can. You're not suddenly going to do it on a random Friday night when you're, relaxed. Suddenly get into a fight. You're not suddenly then going to go, right, I'm going to suddenly take my skill beyond my training, and that's probably the key. You get a lot of people do some skills. They'll hit pads and it's brilliant. Hitting a pad is very different to hitting someone in the face. As obviously, places like boxing give you that sparring element to it. But even still, someone I'll reference here is a guy named Matt Straight, who does sort of the samurai concepts and all this sort of stuff. He does some really good videos, and he's done one for me, which he sent to me, and he said it was a drill around. Someone stood there and you're actually just visualising the hits you're landing on them, because that takes a bit of a mindset thing. Actually, I'm going to smash that person as hard as I can in the face. Overcoming that in a drill is one thing. Doing it in the real world is even better. So yeah, Matt Straight, the Modern Samurai, if you check out his web pages and his books and that sort of stuff, does some real good drills, but it's around that controlled aggression, because it needs to be controlled. You can't just have a switch where you turn off and then about 5 minutes later you come back into the room and like, what's happened? It needs to be able to, build, and you think, actually, I can deliver the strike. And he said it needs to be better than your training, because if you don't train to that level, you ain't going to reach it when you need to on a Friday, Saturday night. And I suppose that's kind of like the answer to this actually is, how do you improve your awareness and your fight, flight, flees? Well, sadly, it's experience. That's where, people always say, being a doorman or a law enforcement makes you a good instructor. It doesn't. You said, the focus of those is slightly different. However, it does. It gives you conflict. You deal with conflict on a fairly regular basis. Pub landlords, same sort of thing. You get used to dealing with it. You get used to picking up on the cues. You will get used to working through your own fight, flight, flees scenarios. You can do them in training scenarios. One of the best ways of doing it is bringing in an element of realism. So do your drills. We did one in Aikido the week, and it starts with the person shoving, and they've got a strike pad, and at some point it pops up, bang, and then you go into your technique. But it was all about being aggressive. So actually, I was shouting and swearing and insulting the person I was doing it. I was being quite nasty. That sort of stuff. It's fun when it's your friends, but even then, it still feels a bit, this person's closing me down, giving me the old, if you don't effing do this, I'm going to F you up, etc., etc., etc. Really, making it quite personal, making it quite up in the ante. Things like that. Bring in people from, if you've got other schools you train with, it's a great way of bringing someone in that you don't know and say, right, we're going to do these drills. It's controlled, but that you don't know that person. So suddenly, they're in your face, making you feel, it brings in an element of that realism, and that's what we started looking for. Bring in bit like that, so that sort of thing will make you feel a little bit of that fight, flight, freeze, comply stuff, and you will kind of experience it. And you can kind of start working through it, and again, all that stuff. Bringing an element of realism will help with that mindset, that mental capacity. The last part is we talk about skills and abilities. This is fairly easy, really. First part is matching your skill to the scenario. And we covered earlier that actually, if you're learning to do 30 kicks in the air, it's impressive, it's good. If the scenarios you're likely to come to conflict are not going to use that as a tactic to some degree, how useful is that skill? So bring in your skills base, look at what it is you're looking to train, and actually then match the skill training you're doing to it. I was always taught dealing with my old SIFU reaction repertoire, and I've added over the years 2 bits to it, so I call it the 4 R's: reaction, repertoire, repetition, review. What you're doing is you're trying to build a reaction. You kick a football at me, I'll probably just put my head away, hit me square in the face and bounce off me. You kick a football at David Beckham, but he doesn't even think twice. His reaction is he just nuts it into the net and it goes in. So he's built that reaction over years. They sort of say 10,000 hours or something like that is some of the scientific quote, but you're building a reaction. Then what you then need is a selection of repertoire of stuff that when that doesn't quite work, what do you fall back to? So, I throw a punch misses. If I've only ever trained that punch and it misses, what's my follow up to? Well, actually, I've got combinations I can then throw into the, someone gets conflict, they grab hold of me, brilliant. I can start doing that. That technique's not working. Where do I go to the next one? So you build on sort of a repertoire and you work on the two. So you build your reaction up, build your repertoire. When that doesn't work, you react to it, and then you work on something else from that repertoire. And then you repeat that. You repeat, and that's where your skill training comes to. You do 10 years, become a black belt, whatever it is, 10,000. You repeat those skills and you keep repeating them. And then what you do is you kind of review occasionally. You review and actually, can I make this work? Can I play around it? Can I get someone in off the street and who walks in? Can I do my technique for the first time? Because if you can't do it to someone who doesn't know what you're going to do, actually, how effective is your training being? Because that's kind of what's going to happen. If I do a koto gesh from Aikido, it's basically like a wrist throw where you sort of put the pressure on, throw them over. In Aikido, well, I do that to someone, they do a nice flashy break fall and they land on the floor, brilliant. If someone walks in off the street and I do that, they're not going to do that break fall. But if the technique works and they fall to the floor and writhing around in pain because of their wrist, the concept of the technique works. So actually, it is working. So, always review what you're doing. Have you, does it work? Does it work on people? Does your reaction actually give you the chance to put that technique on? So that's what we're looking for. And the last one for sort of skill ability is probably humility, because becoming a black belt doesn't make you a tough guy. And again, you get people who think, I'm a law. Someone posed a question the other day and said, my teacher's a police officer, therefore he's automatically assumed that he's good. Well, actually, again, I said law enforcement, door work, and that sort of military work. There's set objective-based scenarios. Yes, it increases their confidence in conflict because they've been there. It doesn't automatically make them an expert in something. To be good at something, what you generally need is knowledge. So you need to have studied it. If you're a self-defense expert, you would have studied various self-defense systems. The books, the stuff that's written out there around how conflict works, the human psyche, and all that sort of stuff. You will have built some skill level up, probably in a martial art, so actually dealing with violence and conflict and that sort of stuff. And you have an element of experience in it. Once you've got knowledge, experience, and skill, you're kind of in a good place to actually pass it on to people. But the whole comes back to humility. It doesn't matter all these sort of stuff. Actually, you're only as good as you can sort of put it out there. And you get a lot of people who think, they hit that black belt level, that suddenly, boom, they've got that skill and ability and they can deal with what's coming. For me, black belt is that start point where you understand enough of the basics, you need to then start to learn to play around with the techniques. And again, this whole point back now is looking back into the self-defense world. Are you looking, and reflect, does your style, does your training cover those 3 points? Are you working on physicality? Do you get that out of it? If not, you should be adding some physicality stuff into it. Look back, actually, are you aware of how you present yourself to people? Because that will affect how people respond to you. Your mental state, do you turn up to training, hit 10 pads and you can smash, you can do kicks to the pads, or you can do a load of boxing drills to a set of pads and you're sharpening your mustard. Very different to when stuff's being thrown at you, glasses are flying, and you're actually trying to hit someone with a view to knock them out. So does your mental training pick up on that? Do you do any situational stuff to actually try and negate the conflict and pick up on all that sort of stuff? And the last part is actually, those skills. Are you building a good reaction? Is your repertoire targeted to the scenarios you're going to be actually dealing with when it comes to self-defense? Now, it might be that you don't do pure self-defense. If you're learning a martial art, chances are it's a part of it. But just goes back to that start point, that humility about actually, if you're teaching someone a martial art and there's self-defense aspects to it, be honest about what you're teaching them. There is an aspect of that self-defense there. However, it isn't pure self-defense. It needs to have all those elements into it to make it that way. And as a student of martial art, have that humility that you're probably tipping the odds in your favour, but actually you're not making yourself indestructible and invincible, that actually you still need to work on stuff to get you to a level. And all you can ever do is improve your odds to a certain level. I don't think you'll ever get yourself to 100%. Anyway, a bit of a long blog for once. I kind of hope, please comment. Again, these are my thoughts. I'm fairly sure there'll be people out there who'll go, oh, bit of rubbish, don't like it, don't agree with it. Fine. Let's discuss why we don't, why people think different stuff from it. But anyway, please like, share, subscribe if you want to see more. We do have some good videos in our heads. Well, they look good in my head anyway. We are going to try and put them onto film. There's just a lot going on with myself and my club at the moment, and it's just hard to get time to actually put stuff to film. But anyway, thank you for watching. Enjoy.